Hi, Sarah. Have you decided to quit your job yet? It's been 3 months since you married my son Andrew. You need to focus on having children. The best way to do that is to quit your job and become a housewife. You know the reason you're having trouble having children? It's because you're always so tired after coming home from work.
Miss Jameson? I'm currently at work, so can we please talk about this later if it isn't urgent?
Oh, is that so?
I leave my smartphone on my desk due to work reasons. I get all sorts of messages related to work, so it's kind of distracting getting all sorts of messages from you.
Why not just quit the job?
You say that like it's so easy. I explained this before the wedding. But I can't just quit my job since I'm in an important position.
You're just complicating things, aren't you? There are probably tons of replacements for someone like you.
Actually, that's not really...
If you don't quit, you'll have to divorce, you know?
What?
It's your duty to give your husband's parents grandchildren.
You've got it wrong. You see, I eventually want to have kids too, but I can't just quit my job. Andrew understands this.
There's no way he does.
I thought he talked to you about this.
He's just being nice to you. That's not what he actually thinks. There's no way a child of mine would just forgive you being so selfish.
Selfish? But
What you're doing is selfish no matter how you look at it. The husband's wife needs to prioritize what the mother-in-law says above all else. It's not an exaggeration if I say that you're my slave.
Your slave?
If you understand, then quit your job immediately.
Hi, Andrew. Do you have a minute?
Hey, Sarah. I just checked in the hotel and was just gonna take a bath. What's wrong?
Your mother told me again to quit my job.
What, again?
She even told me that I was her slave.
That's going too far. I thought I already explained the situation to her. Every time I talk to this about her, she gets hysterical.
I see. According to her, you also actually want me to quit my job, but are just being kind to me.
What? No. I only told her what I actually felt. The company's gonna be in huge trouble if you just quit.
Yup, it really can't be helped. I explained this when I met your parents before getting married, but she must have forgotten.
Well, my mom is the kind of person who won't listen to anything a person she thinks is beneath her says. Also, both my grandmother and great-grandmother were the type to quit their jobs once they got married. So maybe she saw this and assumed this was how things were supposed to be.
That reminds me. I heard from your dad that your mom quit her job as soon as she got married.
Yup, I've heard the same story before. Apparently, Mom really wanted to get married and half-forced Dad into it. Dad at the time was just 2 years into his job, so he actually wanted Mom not to quit her job. But Mom had apparently quit by the time he found out.
So he did struggle financially, huh?
Yup. Working after hours wasn't as looked down upon as it is today, so that's how he earned the money he needed until he got promoted and obtained a stable position at the company.
I see.
We've been talking for quite a while now. You see, Dad's asked me for advice or something concerning Mom.
Your dad?
Yes, I'll explain it to you when I get home. I'll be there tomorrow, so let's talk about what we should do about her from now on as well.
Alright. Sorry for bothering you while you're busy.
It's fine. It was an important matter. You can talk to me whenever.
Okay, thanks.
Well, good night.
Good night. Miss Jameson! What are you thinking, sending a letter of resignation in my name to the company I work at?
Oh, hi, Sarah. It's because you didn't seem to have the courage to quit by yourself, so I thought I would give you a push on the back.
What do you mean I didn't have the courage? I have no intention of quitting the job I have now.
But I already submitted the letter of resignation. You won't be able to stay at the company now, right? I should have done this all at the start. I wonder why I didn't think of it until now. Now I'm one step closer to being able to see my grandchildren, which means that you surrender and can't be mad anymore.
Well, no. I have no intention on quitting no matter what you do.
What?
If that's your attitude, then I understand. It's time for me to take action as well.
What? Action?
Goodbye!
Sarah, did you quit your job? Today's a weekday and yet you seem to be home. Or is it that you plan on using up your paid holidays before quitting? Sending that letter of resignation worked great. Well, I guess I better teach you how to be a housewife now.
Today's just a day off. Besides, there's no way something like that was going to be taken seriously.
What do you mean?
It was clear that that letter wasn't sent by me.
You're saying they didn't accept it?
Yup, it was sent to the shredder.
What? Do you know how much effort I put into that? That was the best one I made out of many.
It doesn't matter how much you made. They'll all go to the shredder.
Why, you? Is that how you talk to your superiors?
If you want to make it like that, then I'm not sure you have the right to be so condescending while you depend on your husband to get by.
What?
It seems that Mr. Anderson has been complaining about you to my husband lately. Apparently, you're not happy with your husband's salary.
I'm the one who manages the house. Just because I'm a housewife doesn't mean I have no right to complain.
Well, I guess being a housewife has its own unique difficulties. But even if you put that into consideration, telling your husband to work overtime so that he'll earn more money, even when the company doesn't allow it anymore, is pretty unfair. In my opinion, you should just get a part-time job.
What are you saying? It's the wife's job to stay at home and protect the house, and it's the husband's job to go out and earn money.
I don't completely disagree with that idea, but there are also times when things need to be done differently. However, I do find it hard to understand why you'd be unhappy with your family's income, since your son has a job and has been supporting himself for years. And your husband, even though he doesn't work overtime anymore, is still a manager at a major company.
Quit yapping! It isn't right for the wife to argue with her mother-in-law. Our family doesn't need a good-for-nothing like you. Divorce my son as soon as possible.
Yup, I turned in my divorce papers yesterday. Along with yours, too.
What? My divorce papers? What are you talking about?
Weren't you the one who suggested divorce to Mr. Jameson? You said that if he didn't start working overtime again, you'd divorce him. You even gave him a form filled out with your sign on it, right?
Huh?
Mr. Anderson couldn't do anything about it since his company doesn't allow overtime anymore. So he signed the papers as well and came with me and Andrew, who also submitted our divorce papers.
What are you talking about? That's not what I meant.
I have no idea what you were planning on doing, but it's clear that you're the one who brought up divorce to Mr. Jameson.
That's not... I only meant to...
Well, there's really no point in me getting involved. Mr. Jameson is going to hire a lawyer, so talk to him instead.
A lawyer?
Apparently, he's going to sue you for cheating on him with a male stripper.
What?
Is that why you wanted your husband to work overtime so much?
No, that's not it.
I'll give the phone to Andrew now.
Andrew?
Hi, Mom!
Andrew, you're not just going to leave me, right? It seems that you divorced Sarah, so you'll be able to support me now that your father's divorced me, right? Let's get along from now on, okay?
It's true that me and Sarah got divorced, but we got remarried right after.
What?
I just wanted to change my last name.
What? What are you talking about? There's no way my child of mine would stick with such a useless bride. She's the kind of woman to send the letter of resignation I kindly sent for her to the shredder.
About that, it's unacceptable for someone to send a letter of resignation in the name of someone else in the first place. But what are you thinking, sending the CEO's letter of resignation to the CEO?
What? The CEO's letter of resignation to the CEO?
I told you this already, but it seems either you weren't listening or you forgot already.
What do you mean?
You see, Sarah owns a company.
What?
She's the daughter of the former CEO of the company, and she inherited it a year before we got married. By the way, I work at a company, and Dad works at a client company.
So the reason why she wouldn't quit her job, no matter how many times I told her, was...
Her quitting the job would be the same as disintegrating the family. That would also mean that hundreds of people, including myself, would lose their jobs. It would impact the company Dad works at as well. Even then, you'd tell her to quit?
But she's the CEO?
Also, Sarah's pregnant now.
Really?
But we're not gonna let you meet the child.
What? Andrew?
I don't want to consider someone who insults my wife and cheats on dad as my mother, which is why I'm cutting ties with you.
Wait!
Goodbye!
A few days later, Miss Jameson found a cheap apartment she could move into immediately and left the house. Apparently, the money she used on male strippers was taken from her and Mr. Jameson's savings account. All she got from the divorce was the money needed for a new apartment and 2 months' worth of money to live on. Not taking any alimony was probably Mr. Jameson's final form of pity to his ex-wife, who was a housewife for 30 years. But still, it's hard to begin supporting yourself after you haven't had a job for 30 years. It seems that she's having trouble at the part-time job she was finally able to find. I saw her apologizing with tears in her eyes to a high schooler a few days back. Apparently, this male stripper she was cheating on Mr. Anderson with left her now that she has no money. Sadly, she'll probably die alone.